This Aquarius new moon is going to be about the frustrations of our own human density that challenge us to move forward despite any unexpected changes and unforeseen circumstances. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of the Hummingbird Arcana Podcast. I am Jo Hummingbird. I'm an Evolutionary Astrologer, Usui Reiki Master, and a Tarot and Oracle card specialist. I'm here to help you awaken to your cosmic divinity, and today I want to bring you an episode all about the upcoming Aquarius new moon, and this is going to be a lot. This is going to be a chaotic one because there is so much happening at the time of this new moon. It is not only the Aquarius new moon, but it is the Lunar New Year, where we are moving from the year of the snake, shedding the skin, transforming into the year of the horse. And then we also have an annular solar eclipse happening at the exact same time. So this is going to be a pretty powerful day. And if you are interested in hearing about what this Aquarius new moon has in store for us, then keep on listening to this episode of Hummingbird Arcana. Have you ever wanted to learn the language of the stars without breaking the bank and without forced AI integrations? Do you want to read your own natal chart with a professional astrologer and with lifetime recorded video replay access in case you can't attend or you forget because life just gets in the way? Then you should absolutely join us for round 3 of my live Astrology Basics Masterclass. Here we will deep dive into the world of astrology, which is the most ancient sister science to both Ayurveda and yoga, and it is considered the precursor to modern-day astronomy. In Astrology Basics, we will cover a wide range of beginner astrology topics, such as the types of astrology, the 12 zodiac signs and houses, planets and luminaries, rulerships and modalities, and so much more. I'll even teach you how to read your own natal chart and give you a free virtual goodie bag just for attending. Early bird special discounted pricing is available now through midnight Central Standard Time on Monday, March 2nd. And if you use code ASTRO3 at checkout, I'll give you an extra 10% off of that early bird special discounted price. Grab your spot now because doors close at midnight Central Standard Time on Friday, March 6th. This is without a doubt my favorite masterclass to teach, so I am super excited for round 3, and I cannot wait to see you there. Now, back to Hummingbird Arcana. So like I mentioned in the intro of this episode, this Aquarius new moon coincides with an annular solar eclipse. And this happens because the nodes are shifting into new signs later on July 27th this year. We currently have the North Node in Pisces and the South Node in Virgo, and those will be moving obviously into Aquarius and Leo, the North Node into Aquarius and the South Node into Leo. This will be happening again July 27th. That'll be in the beginning part of Leo season, within the first week or so of that season happening. And the reason we have eclipses on these signs right now, an Aquarius axis, is because that is where the nodes will be shifting. Anytime we have an eclipse in a different sign than where the nodes currently are means that we are in the year where the nodes will be shifting into that sign that will be the eclipse. So obviously this is going to be a solar eclipse happening in Aries, or not in Aries, in Aquarius, excuse me. So this is when the North Node, the year 2026, will move into Aquarius. And later on in the year, whenever we're closer to the Virgo season and moving away from Leo season, that's when we'll be having another one when the nodes shift. July 27th, we'll have that shift happen, and then later on, towards end of Leo season, moving into Virgo season, we will have another eclipse. But I'll make another episode about that when we cross that bridge. We'll get there. But as far as what else is going on in this Aquarius new moon, this again coincides with the Lunar New Year, which, like I mentioned briefly, is moving away from the year of the snake, from the February time, this time a year ago, from 2025 until now. That was the year of the snake. And again, like I mentioned, that it was shedding the skin, transformation, letting things go that no longer serve us. And the snake is a divine feminine embodiment of wisdom. And a lot of the times it was attacked by the patriarchy. And we see a lot of what happened in 2025 was exactly that. It was an attack on people's sovereignty, on their connection to spirit, on their right to feel nurtured in the life that they're pursuing, whatever that looks like for them, whatever walk of life they come from. And moving into the year of the horse, this is a year of like ambition and forward movement and drive and motivation and integrity and freedom and being able to take action whenever you feel called to. It's not just a response to the environment that's by default. Rather, this is being something that you can choose at free will at the same time, with the same force, the same power, the same essence, the same energy, just directed in a different place. So that is just kind of archetypically what we have going on. But let's move into the specific astrology. So this Aquarius new moon, at exactly 6:01 a.m. Central Standard Time on February 17th, Tuesday, February 17th. This is a pretty early in the morning one, so not like exactly around sunrise, because we have moved past Imbolc now at this point at the time of recording, and this means that the light is going to be returning once we come closer and closer and closer to the spring equinox. So we will notice that the sunrise will start happening earlier, the days will start getting longer, and the sunset will happen a little bit later. As we, ingress again towards the spring equinox, this will happen gradually. We won't notice it immediately, but we'll start seeing it over time. Obviously, right now, the sun is coming up like a little bit earlier than it was when it was the winter solstice, like a little over a month ago. So it's getting different, and this one's going to happen closer to the morning time. So I wouldn't be surprised if you're watching a little bit of a sunrise, depending on where you are in the world. From obviously, if you're closer to the Central Standard Time Zone, or if you're in the Americas, I'd say north or south, then you will probably be able to see that in this regard from what I'm talking about. But with that being said, the sun is in Aquarius at this time, obviously, because when we have a new moon, that means that the moon and sun are conjunct in the sky. And this happens, their conjunction together, at exactly 28 degrees and 49 minutes of Aquarius at 6:01 a.m. Central Standard Time. And mind you, again, sun and moon conjunct, so that means they're in the same sign. Moon in Aquarius is in detriment, and so is the sun. This is the only sign in the zodiac where both the sun and the moon are in complete detriment. So this is not a happy place or a happy time. This is going to be a very frustrating time period just by default of the new moon. But it's not necessarily, I don't want to say this to be like, oh my god, this is going to be the worst new moon of 2026. Get ready, this is going to be horrible. I don't want to be like that. I want to preface this and just be like, yes, it's going to be uncomfortable. Yes, it's going to be difficult and frustrating, but it's also going to be motivating as fuck, because this is, again, moving away from the year of the snake, shedding away the things that don't serve, and moving into the year of the horse. So this is forward drive, momentum, action, everything in that regard and in that context. So apply that to this new moon and be like, okay, well, it's not just going to be uncomfortable and sitting in the shit. It's going to be moving forward and being like, okay, well, this makes me uncomfortable. How do I respond? How do I change it? What do I do? What do I have control over? What do I need to surrender control from? And this is getting very practical, because Aquarius is a Saturnian and Uranian ruled sign. So unexpected things happen in life. Life throws you curveballs all the fucking time, but that's Uranus. And then you go into Saturn side of Aquarius, and it's like, okay, how do I have a structure or a mindset or a determination or an ability to respond that allows for me to not freak the fuck out about this every single time something happens to me, because I can just expect chaos at this point. I can either go crazy from trying to maintain control and refusing to let that go, dragging my heels through the dirt, kicking and screaming, or I can surrender to the divine flow of the intelligence of the cosmos that I have absolutely no control over, and let life happen to me, through me, for me, and by me, instead of just being something that happens to me, strictly, only, period, point blank. So the sun in detriment in Aquarius isn't necessarily going to mean that it's all bad. It's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be annoying. It has us dealing with the frustrations of our own human density that challenge us to move forward despite any unexpected changes and unforeseen circumstances. This is not going to be a time where we're easily distracted by what's going on in the zeitgeist of the world, or what the gossip is in our friend groups, or whatever the fuck, a lot, if there's any of that even existent, depending on what socioeconomic status and what level of privilege bubble you have. But this isn't a time where the small things are going to stand in the way of the bigger picture and your ability to respond to that. This is like a time where there's going to be a lot of, with Aquarius being a collective energy ruler, this, and the 11th house of networking, and Aquarius, Uranus, Saturnian energy of being able to communicate who you are in a way that allows for other people to engage with that without having to commit to that, or to commit to you, or to commit to an idea or a vision, and it just be something that they enjoy and indulge in, and something that they can learn from, experience, and expand with, but not have to be identified with, or clung to, or stuck to. So this isn't going to be a time where all the bad shit that happens is going to be something that you have the capacity necessarily to sit with. Maybe it's going to be a time where you have to get real stoic, and you have to kind of put your emotions on halt, because if you pay attention to them, you're going to go fucking crazy. Curious to see how this Aquarius new moon will activate your natal chart and influence your energy? Check out my Lunar Luminosity reading, where I help you look into how this Aquarius new moon will personally impact you, along with insight on how to integrate the energy on the day before, day of, and day after the new moon itself. This is the perfect reading if you want to align your life with the natural cycle of the moon and work with her astrological archetype. And if you want to, head to the link in the description box or the show notes to book a Lunar Luminosity reading of your very own. Now, back to Hummingbird Arcana. Besides the sun being conjunct the moon, we also have in Aquarius both Mars and Pluto. Mars will be closer to the sun-moon conjunction because, again, the sun and moon are at 28 degrees, 49 minutes. It's very, very late in Aquarius. It's damn near the 29th degree, which is the anaretic degree. It's within conjunction of that, so it definitely has influence to be pretty profound. But Mars is at 19 degrees and Pluto is at 4. So Pluto, as we know, is in fall in Aquarius. This is no news to us. I've talked about this before. I mentioned this in the Leo full moon video. But with Pluto in Aquarius, this is death to humanitarianism. This is transformation to humanitarianism, and this is rebirth to humanitarianism. This is power to the people, power to collective, power to reformation, power to so many different ways of finding the truth and finding authenticity and finding what works and finding structures that can change and adapt and mold over time, even though you think that wouldn't be true with Aquarius being a fixed sign and Pluto being the ruler of a fixed sign as well, Scorpio. This tension between Pluto and Aquarius by rulership of sign, it creates something alchemical. And with Pluto being such an alchemical planet already, for it to be put in a place of its highest tension, not its detriment by opposition, but a place of its highest stress and highest tension, it is forced to yield its most wealthy result as default of the process that it goes through here. This is something that we haven't seen in a collective transit field since the 1800s, since 1700s into the 1800s, because those transits last so long, and that retrograde period was crazy for them. So right now, we're watching something on a collective level be destroyed. Obviously, we're watching governments topple, we're watching protests, we're watching civil unrest, we're watching very inhumane and evil things happen at the same time. Again, like, this is, as much as it's death to humanitarianism, it's also transformation to it and rebirth. There's as much bad as there is as much good, and it's really, with the way that this is set up for us collectively, they're trying to televise it the opposite, which that's a whole other conversation, but the astrology does show us that. And that leads me into the next planet, which is Mars. And again, Mars is a ruler of Scorpio too. So this creates another energy square, and this puts both of Scorpio's ruler in the place of its tension. However, Mars, when in Aquarius, is in dignity, because Mars in Saturnian signs is dignified. It creates an energy of doing the right thing and having the gumption to stand up in the face of darkness and look it dead in the eye and say, I know who you are, I know what your agenda is, and I will not let it continue. Not in the face of the light, not in the sense that, like, love and light is gonna win and rule. No, it's like the light being the truth and the darkness being the evil and the lies and the deceit. So for both Scorpio's rulers here, and Scorpio being about control, manipulation, resources, greed, but then also sex and sensuality and the taboo and occult and esoterica and alchemy and magic in certain ways and psychology. This is a really powerful time where a lot of us on a collective level, because Aquarius is collective energy, this is radically expanding a lot of people's minds who were previously very closed, because Scorpio is a fixed water sign. It's a very emotional of the fixed signs. It's because it's water. It's going to be very rigid and closed off and hard shelled and very armored about how it feels and the way it thinks. It's not that it's not open-minded, but it once it has something that works for it, it's going to do everything in its power to keep that working that way and keep everybody out of its way. So when it gets put in a place of challenge where that way of operating no longer works for Scorpionic energy, because both of its rulers are placed here during a new moon, during an eclipse, during the Lunar New Year, this is a potent time, not just for Scorpios and Aquariuses, more so for them, yes, but for people who had a closed mind to see the true depth and darkness of their ways. This is why we're seeing a lot of certain supporters for the Cheeto Puff in office all of a sudden see the light and the truth of why they voted wrong. That's a whole other conversation. Again, we're not trying to get super political, but astrology in and of itself is political, life is political, and if you want to sit here and argue about that, my comment section is not the place to do it. Go do it somewhere else. Anyways, so with that being said, this new moon gets very political. It gets very civil unrest. It gets very, people are fed up, and not just Pluto, the power being put back to them, but Mars, the ambition and the motivation and the audacity is put back to them. Now, with that being said, at the same time, this Pluto will be squaring the having recently transited Saturn and Neptune conjunction at the 0 degree point of Aries, which is the 0 degree point of the entire zodiac, mind you. So we watched Saturn and Neptune have this dynamic in Pisces, where Saturn, which is the ruler of boundaries, is being dissolved, and Neptune was the dissolver and the ruler of Pisces modernly. So it was extra watery and deceptive and really giving power to the patriarchy to be able to deceive everybody so easily and so profoundly and so structurally. And now that it has moved beyond that final degree of Pisces and into Aries, it has gone through the phase of cosmic death and into the void and into rebirth position. It is sitting there at the void womb space point, and it is moving away from water and into fire, into a spark, into the first action out of birth, the very first action. There is no more hiding. There is no more deception, because Neptune goes away and Saturn goes into fall in Aries. This sextiles Pluto in fall in Aquarius. So power to the people in a fall position is toppling down. The leadership in Aries, patriarchy, Saturn, Neptune, deception. This is a very powerful time where But yes, there's a sextile, so there's going to be back and forth of the government having the upper hand and then the people having the upper hand. It's going to be a toss-up back and forth for this whole time, but this new moon particularly is going to be a time where it is heightened and extra sensitive, because then on top of this, we have Venus exalted in Pisces conjunct the North Node there, at the same time with Mercury in Pisces in detriment. So again, anytime we have a planet that is in a sign or house of its opposite rulership, it is in detriment. And then Venus obviously is in exaltation in Pisces. So we have an exaltation and a detriment conjunct the North Node, which is an evolutionary standpoint, and it's in the most dreamy, watery energy that we just structurally fell out of, and we removed our blind spots from, and we stopped being deceived by. We're feeling very nostalgic, but we know that we need to move forward. We are collecting the pieces, we are doing the healing work, and we, with all of the other motivational energy and transformation that's going on in Aquarius, and the destruction and the falling away of the illusions in Aries, this is a time where we are seeing the truth and we are feeling it more than ever. And we collectively, whether or not we want to recognize that we are feeling the same things, we are. There is obviously a division in the consciousness because there are certain people vibrating on the level of evil, and there are certain people that are vibrating on the level of common sense and good. And at the same time, we, within the side of the good and the common sense, want to still culturally divide ourselves instead of facing the true north of what is actually happening and fighting against that. That is the whole point of having the distraction in the first place. This whole Venus, Mercury, Pisces thing, it's like, let's distract with shiny object syndrome, but there's still all this bubbling underneath the surface and boiling of the water with like the Pluto and Mars and the new moon Aquarius solar eclipse. Like, this isn't a time where we need to let distractions keep us from pushing forward. We cannot get comfortable, we cannot get complicit, because at the same time, which is my last planetary point of discussion, this new moon will be exactly squaring Uranus direct in Taurus, which is also in fall. This is a new moon with 3 planets in their fall positions. This is very, very, very important. With Uranus in fall in Taurus, this is AI hurting the land. This is big tech companies trying to destroy the planet further. This is climate change advancing even more beyond certain capacities. Not that we can't control it, not that we're doomed, but this is a time where it's going to get the attention of the collective in a more powerful way. And at the same time, it is motivating us to try to do better for the earth and for our bodies, for our nervous systems, for our sense of peace, for our sense of sanity in the world even. Taurus is the senses, it's Venus, and Venus is exalted during this new moon in Pisces. So this is a time where she is extra loud. The goddess is going to be speaking very, very loudly, especially with the fact that the moon is in detriment in Aquarius, the other goddess position in the astrology world altogether. Moon and Venus. Venus is exalted, but the moon is screaming, help me, I am so fucking done with this, while over in a Venusian sign, a planet is in fall. So this, and it is the planet that rules this whole new moon, Uranus, modernly. Hello. And then the planet that traditionally rules this is in fall in Aries. Hello. This is not a happy time. None of us are realistically happy, and if you are happy, you are probably not a good person. And I'm not saying that to shame anyone. I am saying that by objectivity. So this is a time to channel that rage, to channel that motivation, to channel the anger, to channel the disappointment, to channel the hurt, to channel the sadness into something beautiful for yourself to be able to move forward. This is the time to strategize, to get together with your community. This is the time to network, to get new friends, to lock in on a second backup plan, to lock in on proprietary way for you to operate in case shit goes south. this is a great time for you to get to know your neighbors. This is a really, really, really beautiful time to start developing connections that can withstand the patriarchy itself. So this Aquarius new moon is jam-packed filled with so many different planetary transits, and it can be a lot to try to unpack on your own. So if you don't feel like making sense of this all by yourself, then I am more than happy to help you out in a session. I will leave the link down below in the description box for my Luminosity reading. If you want to take a look at how this new moon is going to be affecting you personally, that will be in the description box or in the show notes if you're listening on a streaming platform instead of watching on YouTube. But that is going to be all for this Aquarius new moon. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Hummingbird Arcana. If you enjoyed and you're watching on YouTube, then give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and turn on that post notification bell so you're notified every time a new episode comes out. And if you're listening on a streaming platform, then hi, hello, how are you? I would humbly implore you to rate the podcast, leave a review, and let me know in the comment section of your review what you're looking forward to in the Aquarius season that we have left of it, and what you're looking forward to being motivated by this Aquarius new moon, anything you enjoyed about this podcast series so far, and let me know any ideas, topics, or guests that you would like me to have on in the future. So thank you again for listening to this episode of Hummingbird Arcana. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to do so, and it is my pleasure to assist you in awakening you to your cosmic divinity. I'm Jo Hummingbird. I will see you in the next episode. Many blessings, and take care, my friends.